Hello and welcome to the Grueling Truth. This is a special edition of the Grueling Truth NASCAR Show. 100 preview with myself, Joe Spilman, Steve Risley, and Ryan Peters. Steve Risley just got done calling Ryan Peters a dumbass, so we're going to get right into this show and preview the Indy 500. Steve, Ryan, how are you both doing?
30 seconds ago, my confidence was a little higher, but you know what? We just got to power through it. So
just to let everybody know that's what
I'm happy. You know who my hero is?
Who?
My hero is Peter Pan. You know why?
Why?
Because you like peanut butter.
No, well, I like peanut butter. That's true.
Peanut
butter and bananas are my standard breakfast every morning. I have two bananas with peanut butter on it. No, that's tater tots. Peanut butter and tater tots was Elvis's. I like peanut butter. But anyway.
It was peanut butter and a banana peanut butter and banana sandwich.
No, he had peanut butter and tater tots. He ate tater tots with everything.
Horseshit. Anyway, let's get into this Indy 500 preview, Steve. But before we do,
I didn't tell you why Peter Pan was my hero.
Well, okay. Let's hear it.
Because Peter Pan was the old man who never wanted to grow up. He was going to be a child and a boy all his entire life.
Right. We put those kind of people in prison now, Steve.
No, we don't. No. I'm not even going to walk down that alley right now because it's not a time to be making fun of anything like that.
Okay. Let's do this Indy 500 preview. But before we do, I want to let everybody know that the Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding an online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Now, Steve, quit mouthing what I'm saying. In the last show we had, Steve, we went over the last day of qualifying when the qualifying order was set. Now, since then, we've had a practice. We had Carb Day on Friday, a little bit of movement on Carb Day on Friday. So why don't you take us into that and let us know what happened on Friday? I know there was a couple big wrecks. Some people are going to the back of the pack. Give us all the details you know about Carb Day and what we can expect moving forward here this weekend.
Well, Carb Day started off with a little bit of a rain delay. As in May in Indiana, the weather comes and it goes, and they got off to a late start. The most noticeable thing about it were the speeds were in line with what you're going to see in the race, as opposed to what you're seeing in qualifying. The top speed of the day was Tony Kanaan at 227, Sato at 226, and Dixon at 226. And you can go on through to where Jimmy Johnson was in 10th place at 225. So a very tight speed chart for all the drivers in the field. One little fun fact, I have a bunch of fun facts for you. This is the fastest field ever to take the green flag at the Indianapolis 500 with an average speed for the field of 231 miles an hour. So it stands to be a quick race. Another fun fact for you to know is it's also going to be possibly a very dangerous race. What we learned is because there are 7 rookies in this field, led by Devin DeFrancisco, Romain Grosjean, who is a F1 driver, not really a rookie, but a rookie at Indianapolis, Callum Elott, Kyle Kirkwood, David Malukas, who I believe was one of the 2 accidents that occurred on the track, and Jimmy Johnson, believe it or not, who was a 7-time NASCAR Cup champion, also is a rookie in this field. So a lot of rookies, which can sometimes lead to a lot of carnage, because I still to this day do not believe there is anything like diving into turn 1 for the first time in your life at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. With the crowd there, the race is a sellout. So we're expecting well in the excess of 250 to 300,000 fans. They never give the official attendance. So it's going to be big, but the qualification or Carb Day, as it's known, it's now just called final practice because, as we all know, the cars no longer bear carburetors on them. They are fuel injected now. But still, for those of us that are traditionalists, still call it Carb Day. It went fairly smoothly, except for 2 accidents. Again, I think Malukas was the first one to kind of lose control of his car. Just tried to make a rookie move, which is what concerns you. Tried to pass somebody on the outside, clipped his front wing and cut his right rear tire or left rear tire. And it went down immediately on the carbon fiber, and he went into the wall and did some damage to his car. I believe his car is repaired, and he will retain his starting spot. Later on in the race or in practice, Colton Herta did a Mario Andretti where he just on his own lost his car, put it into the wall hard, flipped his car, skidded down the short chute between 1 and 2 on his helmet. Now, thank God for the halos. Yeah, it was an incredible crash, and the great thing, the dynamics here is that you just don't understand how safe these cars are until you see something like that happen. And they were making fun of it, if you can ever make fun about a wreck like that. As he was sliding through the short chute and slowing down finally, he's on the radio to his team going, "Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm okay. I feel like a bonehead, but I'm okay." You know, as he's sliding upside down. And they actually had to get the safety crew there, of which the safety crew there was there within 10 seconds. And they actually did not take an hour and some odd minutes to take action. They took action within 10 seconds of the car coming to a stop and got him out of the car safely. His car was damaged beyond repair, and he will move to the rear of the field and start in a backup car. After that, without much hesitation or any more deliberation, a lot of the guys, the laps taken were all over the place. Some of the more veteran drivers just really went out, took 10, 15 laps, dialed their cars in, made sure all the weight was all situated where they wanted it, and got everything right. Now, of course, they were doing that in what we would call overcast, rainy conditions. And come tomorrow, it's supposed to be in the mid-80s and sunny in Indianapolis. Therefore, anything they did on Friday is going to be for naught because the atmosphere, track temps, and everything are going to change entirely on the car, and it's going to be an absolute crapshoot because they probably have not had a day all month in practice or qualifying or carb day of the weather they're expected to get in Indianapolis tomorrow. So it should make for an interesting start. Very fast field coming down. I think you'll see some 230s early in the race as they're able to sail, what I call sail. Generally, the first 5, 6, 7 cars get in the single file line, spread out a little bit, and they go sailing. The leader will be probably half a lap ahead of the rest of the field, and he'll get caught because there is drafting, so to speak. They call it towing. They tow rather than draft in IndyCar. I don't know if it's a different verbiage or if it is indeed just something completely different. I do not know the answer to that because I've never driven an IndyCar. But they will get out in front of the field, and the lead car will probably be Dixon, who most likely will probably be, like I said, close to half a lap ahead of the last place car within 5 or 6 laps, but not going to lap that car too soon. It'll take 20 or 30 laps for him to actually get to the rear of the field. So that's pretty much how the day went. It went good. They did have the pit stop competition after that, but unfortunately, it was cut off because of rain delays again. And I do not know who won the pit stop competition. One of you guys may know that. Although I did see, I laughed humorously because the second guy going through, and I can't think who it was. I did not write his name down. Second car going through the pit stop. Upon leaving the pits after completing a forced tire change, the right rear tire fell off the car because they did not get the single lug on tight.
Well,
and I think
to see all them
absolute
races.
Joke how we have been on NASCAR about that, and we said how IndyCar and F1 gets it right all the time. And here you go on the pit stop competition. Bingo, it happens again. So trying to keep this to a short program. that is Carb Day in a nutshell, and they are race ready to go now, although we do not know what to expect because of changing weather conditions and 7 rookies in the field, spread out evenly all throughout the field.
Well, Steve, that was an absolutely beautiful recap of Carb Day. I appreciate your insight on that. As you know,
do you have that written down somewhere? Is that on a cue card for you?
No.
That was eloquent what you just said. I've never heard you speak so eloquently.
I'm an eloquent person, Steve. I can be. And as you know, Ryan Peters over there is attending his first Indianapolis 500. He's been to Indianapolis Motor Speedway before. I think he went to the road course or the road course, NASCAR road course last year at Indianapolis.
Actually, it was the Indy. It was the Indy race last year at the road course.
Yeah.
So the one that they do the week before, not the NASCAR one.
Oh, you went to the Indy. Okay, for IndyCar.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your first Indy 500.
Correct.
Have you ever been to a race there when they've been on the actual Indianapolis 500 track, the rectangle, not the oval?
I mean, it's the same track that they run the NASCAR one, so they just run it backwards. So like they go instead of going to 1 and 2, they go around the other way. They cut in through the middle of 1 and 2.
They use the front straightaway for the road course race too.
That's not what I was even asking, Steve. I was just letting Ryan talk. I'm asking him if he's ever been to a typical race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway around the actual track. And not the.
He said he had.
Okay.
You announced that this was his first Indy 500.
We were moving on, Steve. So I want to ask Ryan, what do you expect to see tomorrow?
Ryan, let me answer that for you.
Yeah, hey, you just shut the hell up, Ryan. Let Steve answer that for him.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I expect – so my itinerary is we're going to watch the pre-race festivities because that's, the big thing about going to the Indy 500s. We're going to sit there, watch the pre-race. I'm going with my buddy Devin, and I've been informed that we're going to walk around the track after the racing starts. We're going to meet a couple people at tailgating. Then we're going to meet my buddy Dan. And then in the middle, we're going to meet a lot of beer. So I plan to see a lot of drinking. I plan to see a lot of hot dogs and cars going over 230 mile an hour. And I hope that that's a really good time, but we shall see.
Hey, Ryan, you know a really cool thing about the Indy 500 and doing what you're going to do?
What's that?
You will find out the uniqueness of it in that the urinals are not urinals, they are troughs.
Yeah.
You actually pee in a big trough along with 50 of your closest drunk buddies.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan should be excited about that.
It'll be awesome because I'm sure some guy will use his elbow on my head to make sure that he can stand up straight.
Well, and you can cross streams too if you so desire to do so.
No, sir.
So let me
I'll be okay with that. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Do you anticipate being able to watch the Coca-Cola 600 tomorrow night?
100%. I will not let the Indy 500 get in the way of my Coca-Cola 600.
So there, you have heard it first. This is a Grueling Truth first. Ryan Peters will be doing the devil tomorrow.
That's right. I plan on by driving. So I'm going to drive home. So I'm not going to be dumb enough to drink too much while I'm there. But yes, I will do probably more drinking watching the Coca-Cola 600 because there's 4 stages for that. Versus
do you also have a Gulfstream waiting to pick you up at Eagle Creek Airport and fly you back to Vevey, Indiana? Is there even an airport big enough to handle a Gulfstream in Vevey, Indiana?
We have a river that you can drive your plane just
right.
It's right on. So
it's got to be a float.
I'll be okay. It don't have to. It's just a one-way ticket.
Well, I just know that all the drivers from that tried to do the double-double that day, and a double-double is an excellent hamburger at In-N-Out here in Los Angeles. It is probably the best hamburger ever made, is the double-double with animal fries. You got to get the animal fries to go with it. So good little plug there for In-N-Out. Anyway, so you need a corporate jet. Gulfstream G5 would be nice. Michael Jordan owns one. A lot of Mark Cuban owns one. A lot of people have G5s. And just hop on down to Lawrenceburg, Indiana. I think the strip in Lawrenceburg is big enough. I landed at Lawrenceburg, Indiana in a jet one time, flying around with Senator Quayle. But that's another story for a longer show.
I believe he might have landed at the Cincinnati International Airport in northern Kentucky.
No, I think Batesville has a strip because of Hillenbrand Industries.
Okay. Well, Steve, getting away from the gossip here. So we went over Carb Day. And as you know, I wrote an article and kind of did a special article with the 5 best bets for the Indy 500. And I picked winners, or I picked people who I thought had a chance to win the race, not necessarily the favorite, or not necessarily people I actually think are going to win, but people that I believe, you could bet $10 on and have a payout over $100 if they do end up winning. And if you want to catch that article, it's at thegruelingtruth.com. But I want to hear from you, since you're the resident expert at the Grueling Truth and IndyCar. Who are your picks to win this race?
Okay, you talking to me or?
Yes.
I was reading our listeners' comments.
I can't see them. So you're going to have to. Okay. We're having some technical difficulties. You're going to have to let me know what they say.
Robert Carter, Steve Risen basketball team. I don't really know. It's Risley, and I don't know if I've risen to the basketball team. You guys are now my basketball team. Robert Carter says, "What's up?" And I think he's talking to you, Joe. Adam says, "Steve crossed the swords there." Yes, I have crossed streams at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We've done that. Hey, beers are a wonderful thing. Steve likes crossing swords, is my guess. It's fun. When you're drunk, anything's fun. And then Adam wants to know if I can spell potato. Yes, Adam, I can. As a matter of fact, I actually wrote that speech for Senator Quayle. So, he couldn't spell potato. I spelled it right because I had spell check on my computer when I wrote the damn thing. Potato. Are we going into picks already for the 500?
Well, you go ahead and give your picks. My picks.
We're not going to prepare Adam a little more for the fun and festivities.
Well, if you want to go into the
Ryan.
fun, right. Well, if you want to tell
Ryan, wandering around.
Ryan, I do know is a grown man. He's pretty resourceful. But if you want to let him know what he should or should not do at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, go ahead.
Oh, now Adam's getting sassy and wants me to shut the fuck up. Okay, Adam, I'll shut up and listen to how boring this show will get real quick. Because look at Ryan. He looks like a bump on a log in Vive, Indiana. And Joe makes no sense when he talks. He doesn't know anything about the Indy 500. So I'll shut the fuck up and let these guys talk. I'll give my 5 picks. The hell with you, Adam.
Yeah, Adam. Who's Adam?
Yes. One more word out of you, and I'm just going to fucking block you.
Yeah, Adam.
Yeah.
I can't see your comments, Adam.
That's a good thing. Adam's not being very nice and friendly. Okay, my 5 picks. I think that he's a former winner of the Indianapolis 500. I think Scott Dixon obviously has a very solid car. Ganassi Racing has dominated the month out at the Indianapolis Speedway. I think if his car holds up, and unfortunately the last few years he's had strong cars, led a lot of the 500s, and just gotten caught up in a melee by a lesser quality driver than Scott Dixon. If he can stay out of the trouble and his car doesn't break down, as any car is capable of breaking down, no matter who builds it, at the stress put on these cars at that level, I think Scott Dixon would be your prohibitive favorite to win this race. Another person who's looked extremely good this month, is Takuma Sato. He's a 2-time winner of the Indianapolis 500, has great equipment under him, has been strong and up on the speed charts all month, and has kept his nose clean as well. And he's a very wily driver who just drives a very smart race. Generally, you don't even notice he's in the race until the last third of the race. I think he's a favorite. probably a sentimental favorite as much as anybody, but another driver who just knows how to win on this track. There are certain horses for certain courses, and this driver certainly is a horse for this course, and that would be Helio Castroneves. He has already won back-to-back Indy 500s. I believe it's 2001 and 2002 or 2000, 2001. I don't know off the top of my head without Googling it real quick. But he's back-to-back winner. He's won 4. He's in good, solid equipment. Simon Pagenaud is his teammate, who's another former Indy 500 winner. And he has a legitimate shot at becoming the first 5-time Indy 500 winner. Did you know the fact that there are actually 2 drivers who have won at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway 5 times? Not in the Indy 500. Jeff Gordon has won the Brickyard 400 5 times.
I knew
and
that.
I believe that Michael Schumacher won the Grand Prix of Indianapolis F1 race, I believe 7 times, if I'm not mistaken. He won it every year it ran at Indianapolis. Never defeated it at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And, of course, then F1 pulled out of Indianapolis because the track just was too fast for the F1 cars. And they did not like going the speeds. They did not trust the tires on that that course. Tires aren't built for the speed as they are for Indy cars. Another driver who is I believe he's a defending champion in the series. Pato O'Ward is another driver who has done extremely well for the month. Good, solid, young driver. Very savvy driver, stays out of trouble well. The whole key to this race is staying out of trouble for the first 2/3 of the race. And then by then, enough of the also-rans have fallen out of the race due either mechanical failures or wrecks. And you can pretty well get it down to the accomplished drivers out there. And, then the track spreads out a little bit more. And until the last 4 or 5 laps, generally, historically, you're not fighting a lot of traffic. The winners can pick and choose their spots to run. Pato O'Ward's been a solid driver in IndyCar for the last couple of years and certainly is worthy of winning this race and has the equipment to do it. My 5th and final pick is a perennial speedster at the Indianapolis 500, another homegrown hero, actually the stepson of Tony Holman, or Tony George, is Ed Carpenter. Ed, poor Ed, generally gets caught up in the first 5 laps in a wreck somewhere, not due to his own making. He qualifies up front, gets good out there, and generally if you got another young rookie or something qualifying up with speed, Ed seems to find that guy, hook up with him, and end up into the wall along with that driver because they don't understand the speed's going. So, again, my 5 picks to win this race, I don't know what their betting odds are, but if you go to betting.net, and they'll tell you the best place to go to find out what the odds would be on these 5 drivers. And you can make your choice on either Joe's picks, who are the greatest odds to win the 500, greatest payback, and possibly my picks, which are much of the same as Joe's, would give you who I think are the 5 best drivers to win this race. Dixon, Sato, Castroneves, O'Ward, and Ed Carpenter would be my 5 picks to win this year's Indy 500, the 106th edition of the running of the Indianapolis 500.
Well, Steve, I can tell you that Pato O'Ward is at plus 1,100 to win. Helio Castroneves is at plus 2,800 to win because those were in my top 5 for best bets with nice payouts. So, and I will tell you, I do know Scott Dixon is the favorite. And I will tell you, according to DraftKings, what the current odds are on your 5 drivers right now, if I can bring them up quickly. Scott Dixon is at plus 550 to win. And then we have Helio and O'Ward. And who else did you have?
Ed Carpenter.
Ed Carpenter is at plus 1,800. And there's one more you had, correct?
Dixon Sato.
Okay, Sato is at plus 1,600 to win the race
Yeah.
according to DraftKings.
So
So
those are probably some of
really,
the lowest odds to win. Is that correct?
no, actually, Award is the second lowest at plus 900. Scott Dixon is the favorite at plus 500. The rest of your drivers are actually at higher odds. Takuma Sato is plus 1,600. Ed Carpenter's plus 1,800. And as you see there at the bottom of the screen, Helio Castroneves is at plus 2,800. So having said that, a $10 bet on Helio Castroneves at DraftKings will pay out $280, which is not bad odds, especially for a guy that's won the race 4 times and looking to be the only 5-time winner. So, to be honest, we look at, of course, we all look at the NASCAR odds every week. I write an article and pick drivers every week on NASCAR. So I'm pretty familiar with the odds, and I can almost tell you right around where the drivers are going to be at with their odds before I even get on and look. It really surprises me when I look at Indy 500 odds and how quickly they jump up. So, like typically, all the Hendrick Motorsports drivers right now in NASCAR, you look at every one of them, and they're at plus 800 or plus 900 and lower every week, down to plus 450 usually for Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott when they're the favorite. But looking at the Indy 500 and the odds, and Vegas looking at these odds, these really tells me, like you said at the beginning of the show, this race is a crapshoot. I mean, these cars, when you have a 4-time winner who knows how to win this race and has proven that he could drive 500 miles very adequately in an Indy car like Helio Castroneves, and he's at plus 2,800 odds, that tells me that there's so many variables that go into the Indy 500 that it's really anybody's game. And I know one of my picks was Jimmy Johnson this week at plus 1,600 odds. And you keep telling me he's not going to finish the race. I respectfully disagree with you, or I hope to respectfully disagree with you. So, I'm excited to watch this race. I do watch the Indy 500 every year. I'm not an expert on the Indy 500 or Indy cars in particular, but I do enjoy watching the race. And we have a big weekend tomorrow. We have a huge day for auto racing tomorrow. We get to wake up and 9:00 Eastern time. We get to watch the Monaco Grand Prix, which should be an incredibly boring race. I saw that Ferrari qualified 1-2, Red Bull qualified 3-4, and that'll probably be the finishing order, I suspect, because I do know that the Monaco course is very hard to pass on. Then we get to watch the Indy.
Checo wrecked in practice, and then Sainz wrecked into Checo, so it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, I know there was a pretty bad wreck in the F2 race yesterday or today. I'm not even sure when the F2.
It's a very tricky course to run on. Monaco is. It's very hard. It's a very narrow course, no room to pass, and it's a very bumpy course because it's run on streets that are not well taken care of to begin with. And they're road streets. Semis run on those. They drive those roads. It's heavy equipment on those roads a lot, so it's a very treacherous course. But it is the Indy 500 of F1.
It's the Daytona 500.
Yeah, it's the Daytona 500, the Indy 500, and the Monaco Grand Prix are the Grand Dames of all three of their separate sports. First off, Adam. Let me just get this out. Adam, I'll get to all your questions. Adam has given us about 5 questions. Well, let me just ask you, can I ask these questions, Joe, and see if we all can answer them?
Sure.
And to qualify on what you're saying, I pretty much, because I do have Peacock, so I have pretty much watched every single practice during this month and seeing the cars run daily and continuously. I'm going on consistency. My picks were based on consistency in practice, speeds of able to run, trouble getting into and not getting into, how a driver is driving, how he's passing other cars, how he's entering turns and exiting turns, how close to the wall these drivers are driving. Setups become critical. here. The unknown here and why somebody like a Elio is maybe 2,800 versus a Dixon who's what you say 500 to 1, 500 plus
He's
500.
plus 550.
So the difference there, in my opinion, why that's like that, the biggest part of it, because you look at Helio and you look at Scott Dixon, talent wise, they're pretty equal. Dixon's a past winner, and Helio obviously is a 4-time winner. But what's the difference is probably the level of R&D and equipment each of the teams has to put into their cars. Unlike NASCAR, where it's, they're relatively easy cars compared to an F1 or an Indy car to work on and dial in. The aero packages are completely different. So I think why you're seeing that odds gap between like a Elio and a Scott Dixon is the level of equipment. Sato runs for Andretti Autosport, again, another well-funded team. So the odds probably play a lot into the funding of the teams. And one of the questions that came from Adam, why are the Honda cars so good? Honda pours more money into R&D than Chevrolet does for their engine program. I think that probably I don't want to say this because I'm not in on the conversations, obviously, but Indy or Chevrolet is in there probably more because Penske and the Indy Racing League wants Chevy to be there, so they have a different engine option other than just Honda. But I think that much as TRD in F1 pours a ton of money into its F1 program, AMG puts a ton of money into the Mercedes program. Ferrari builds their own engine, so there's a reason why those teams are the top in F1, and you've got all kinds of engine manufacturers in NASCAR. You've got TRD, you've got Hendrick engines being built, you've got Yates engines being built, Roush Yates engines being built. They all have to conform, but they're all made in-house for the most part. They do have to make all their engines available in NASCAR to anybody. If somebody wants to drive a Hendrick engine, you can get on the lease program from them to use that engine, and Hendrick has to make those engines available to anybody that would want to. And a lot of teams use Hendrick power, or they use Yates power. And the Toyota teams pretty well. If you're going to do that, the Toyota is going to say, fine, you become a Toyota program and you run the Toyota chassis as well. So that's why the Honda cars are better. I believe that they're more durable than the Chevy engines. Chevy engines are fast. There's no difference in speed between the two, but I think the reliability of a Honda engine is there over. Adam says NASCAR is for rednecks. I give you that. Yeah, it's a Southern sport. It probably is a little more good old buddy beer drinking, pee streaming crossing in a trough than it is F1, where you have air freshener scented private stalls to use the bathroom all the time. Which rookie finishes best? If he doesn't wreck, I think that Jimmy Johnson is a good bet to win that. Jimmy Johnson is very adept at going left. He can run. He's got. They put a blurb up on practice on Friday. It said number of oval super speedway wins. It's like Helio Castroneves has 4. Jimmy Johnson has like 35. And that was 1 and 2. Jimmy's won 35 races combined between all of the big ovals, that being Talladega, Daytona, Pocono, Auto Club Speedway out here in Fontana, anywhere where, the big what they consider Atlanta. He's got 35 wins over his career, and so by far he is capable of driving, and he's surprisingly been much better than I thought he would be. So if Jimmy can stay out of trouble and hold his car together, I think he's a candidate to win this race. He's not qualified to do it. I just think it takes a little bit more experience, is why I would not rank him as a favorite, but I think he is, Joe, of all the people you have announced as your picks to win, he probably is the best bet. Jimmy Johnson probably is the best bet to make big money in this race.
I don't disagree.
Bet him to win, place, or show.
Now,
if you bet him somewhere in the top 3, you stand a real good chance of me. What are his odds to win, place, or show? Did you have those?
His odds to finish in the top 3 are plus 450, and his odds to finish in the top 5 are plus 200.
Well,
so,
what's that tell you right there? That's how much respect that even the bookmakers have for Jimmy Johnson's ability.
So,
what are Kyle Busch's odds to win the race?
Tomorrow, according to DraftKings, they're plus 550.
Kyle Busch?
Yeah.
The Indy 500?
Oh, I thought you were
Thank
asking
you, Ryan. I'm trying to engage Ryan here because I'm talking, and Ryan should be. Which
I
Jimmy
actually
Johnson.
I
guess I will stop asking questions since they are getting ignored, or you just can't read. I read every one of your questions. It's just that I'm the only one who seems to be getting those questions right now. So I wanted to stop because you accused me of to shut the fuck up. So I was trying to shut the fuck up and not answer your questions. So Joe can speak, and I want Ryan to speak. Ryan, what are your thoughts? Joe, take it back over. I'm sorry.
So, Ryan, I did want to know.
Shelley Fowler Spilman. Is that your wife?
It is.
Will you bring me a Mountain Dew? Get your wife a Mountain Dew. Shelley Fowler Spilman wants you to bring her a Mountain Dew. Put yourself on pause. Go get your wife a Mountain Dew right now. Joe, we'll let Ryan give us his thoughts.
I will
go get her a Mountain Dew.
I will get her a Mountain Dew.
Right now. Go get her a Mountain Dew.
But I will say.
If you don't get her a Mountain Dew, you have no chivalry.
I do not.
Wow.
That dies after a certain number of years of marriage.
Ryan,
Steve,
what are your thoughts on who's going to win the Indy 500?
I mean, I'm just surprised when you guys are talking about the odds, how Helio Castroneves is so high. To me, he has like the same odds, and I'm going to compare it to a sport that I actually know a little bit about. To me, that would be like the odds for Cole Custer to win a race. And that's asinine to me that somebody at 2,800 who's won this thing 4 times, who did it as recently as last year, is that high. On an opposite perspective, you have somebody else like Jimmy Johnson, who hasn't run well in IndyCar altogether. Maybe he's run well this weekend, according to what you guys are saying. I know he had like some good 4-lap average times. But at plus 1,600, what you're talking about earlier, Joe, that's not very high in terms of the field. You know, at 1,600, yeah, if you're not used to betting on motorsports, yeah, you're like, oh, my God, I'll take anything with that type of odds. But really, he's like the 8th favorite person.
Right. Yeah.
In IndyCar. And I just got a hard time believing that. You know, somebody to me like Romain Grosjean is a world-class driver coming in to IndyCar. And the only reason why he's not in F1 is because he had a terrible wreck, you know, and if you ever watch that, you'd be surprised that the guy could even walk anymore, let alone get in another vehicle and race again.
From that race.
Yeah.
Some luck that he was small enough he could get out to the crack in that guardrail. Other than that, he's burning up in that car still.
Right. And I you know, and I think when I see that type of stuff, to me, that's what kind of blows my mind. I can't really get into tell you like who I think is going to win, because I agree. I think in IndyCar motorsports, the guy that's leading could be the guy that's in 12th place on the last lap, just because the way that they cycle through in those last 25 to 30 laps. You know, I do know Soto, or I can't pronounce his first name correctly, so I'll just say Sato.
Takuma.
Yeah. So I know Soto has run really, really well here. I think it was 2 years ago he had a really, really good shot to lead it and end up getting on a restart, end up kind of cycling back. So, you know, that's the guy that I would probably, if you were going to tell me I had somebody else's money to bet, I would do that. But I'm betting on Hoosier Boys. So I bet on Connor Daly. So it's $5 for me to win $250. You know, make it a storybook day for him and the Noblesville, Indiana boy, and he can take his 15-mile drive back home and celebrate.
You know,
and I watched the parade this morning, and the Indy 500 parade, Connor Daly has a smoking hot wife. That's another good reason to win this race.
That's why he can't focus on winning.
Maybe that's why he can't.
Yeah.
Because she was, of all the wives in the cars with their husbands or boyfriends or whatever they might be. And I don't know what to say. Takuma Sato had 2 guys in the car with him, but we'll just let that go.
Yeah, 2
Ryan, jumping off what you said, though, that's why I think that auto racing, IndyCar and NASCAR in particular, not so much F1, is so fun to bet on because you can bet $5, $10, even $15, not spend a week's worth of pay and walk away, with a $15 bet, walk away with $500 on legitimate picks that could win the race. Like Kevin Harvick tomorrow for the Coca-Cola 600. I think Kevin Harvick could possibly win the Coca-Cola 600. He hasn't had a great season this year, but he's at plus 30,000 odds to win the Coca-Cola 600 tomorrow. So, why wouldn't you take $10 or even $5 and throw it on somebody like Kevin Harvick or your Indiana boy for the Indianapolis 500, and hope that it might happen? It's certainly better odds and better chances, I think, sometimes than what you see in long shots and horse racing. So,
absolutely.
I find it, I think auto racing, motorsports are one of the unique sports that you don't have to risk the bank account to take home a good payday. And it makes it fun and it gets you engaged in the race. And, if your driver wrecks out tomorrow that you put $5 on, you go, shit. And you're not worried about making your car or house payment because you were trying to win, a big sum of money on betting on sports, which I don't recommend that you do anyway. I mean, you shouldn't be gambling money you don't have, but just my little piece on why, gambling on auto racing is fun.
And to echo that, Joe, part of me today, and looking at what was going on in Monaco and how well Valtteri Bottas has run at Monaco recently, I said I'm going to place a bet that he gets a podium. He didn't make it out of second round qualifying, so he's going to start 12th. There's no way I'm going to bet for him to now make a podium at that track. Something like IndyCar at the 500 and then NASCAR at their super speedways, you legitimately could have anybody win either of those races. So why not, like you said, throw down $10? You now have 2.5 hours, 3 hours to watch to see if your $10 investment turns into 500, even 1,000 if you're talking about guys in the back, and it just gets you more engaged. It makes it more fun for that 2 hours if that does end up hitting.
And you know what, Ryan? If you are new to gambling or placing wagers on auto racing, you could head on over to betting.net and you could search for the best online casinos and sportsbook, and they'll direct you to a place that will be the best casino or online sportsbook for you to use in your state. So keep that in mind. If you do want to place a bet for tomorrow's Indy 500, Coca-Cola 600, or if you want to bet on Red Bull or Ferrari in the Monaco Grand Prix, head on over to betting.net. And like I said, they'll point you in the right direction so you can place your wager.
Did the promo code, did it get past corporate? I heard that if you use promo code Steve Risley, he'll actually open his wallet and give you $200 on your first
I think that's maybe something we're doing next week or the week after. So you can go ahead and try it. Promo code Steve Risley.
So much red tape nowadays, man.
I'm telling you what, if I knew how to bet, if I knew how to place a bet, I would bet on a couple drivers in the Indy 500 for the fun of it. You're right. But I have no idea even how to do it.
Well, and Steve, actually right now in California, where you live, your great state of California, I don't even think you can legally get on and place a bet for the Indy 500.
Everybody does it, so there's some backdoor key into it.
There is, but I believe that's illegal. We're not going to promote that on this show.
Lord knows we don't want to do anything that's illegal. One other thing that goes in, and why it's hard to pick a winner. There's another factor that comes into the race, and that's fuel management. Again, remember, IndyCars pit about every 25 laps. 25 to 30 laps is all they get out of their methanol. And therefore, if I'm not mistaken, I believe there were 2 different occasions that Danica Patrick, with about 5 to 10 laps to go, was actually leading the Indy 500 and had to make pit stops to refuel, or she was going to run out of gas, and lost both those races due to fuel mileage or bad fuel management at the time. I also believe that the winner of the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 was Joe.
What?
Without looking it up,
I don't know what
the
you were
winner of the
asking,
100th running of the Indianapolis 500. Without looking it up, you should know this. You're looking it up. Ryan, do you have a guess?
Diddy Kong.
No, Alexander Rossi.
Helio. Okay.
No, Alexander Rossi was the winner of the 100th Indy 500, and he won it on fuel management. He was not in the lead, but cars had to pit. He had a better fuel strategy than anybody else did, and it was kind of, blah, blah, blah. He won the race on fuel management, not on being the fastest or best car in the race that year. But
you're the IndyCar guy, Steve.
His face is on the Borg Warner Trophy, and 32 other drivers for the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 are not. And Danica, unfortunately, missed a couple opportunities to win, was oft considered the greatest race in the world, and literally was in possession to do that, but bad fuel management cost her that race. So, that being said, another little tidbit for you guys. You know that there are 15 nations represented in this year's running of the Indianapolis 500.
I didn't know how many, Steve, but I did know that there was a whole bunch.
Australia, Brazil, Canada, Colombia, Denmark, England, France, Japan, Mexico, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland. And Ryan, what country am I leaving out?
France.
How about the USA?
Is any
There
good
are some
American
American drivers in the race. Connor Daly.
Yeah, you made him Irish.
Well, his dad actually is Irish. Derek Daly is Irish. So there you go. That's why I did that unintentionally. That was an unintentional football. Also, Joe, do you know who the oldest driver in this year's running of the Indy 500 is?
I feel like it's either is it Juan Pablo Montoya?
No, it is not. Surprisingly, that's a good guess, though. Very good guess.
Is it? Or it's the guy that and I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He owns his own race team. He only races at the ovals.
No, he does not own a team. He is a driver.
I don't know. Then
Tony Kanaan.
Okay. I didn't realize
this is not an oval. Why do we call?
I'm not calling it an oval. It's a rectangle.
Okay.
I saw the same stuff that Joe said, or that you brought up about Indy and Jimmy Johnson, and I'm just like, maybe that's Common Core geometry that I didn't learn. That they keep calling it an oval.
I understand that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is a rectangle.
Right.
I just happen
to as an oval race.
I just happen to call it an oval.
It's
not just
turn
you,
only
Joe.
track.
NBC calls it an oval.
Yeah.
Just Common Core geometry.
Well, I mean, because it doesn't sound right to say, "Hey, we're heading to the rectangle." Although,
do you know?
We do have a tricky triangle in NASCAR.
Ryan, do you know who the youngest driver in this year's running of the Indy 500 rectangle is?
I will not be able to answer any of these questions.
Okay, Ryan. Joe, who is the youngest driver? Go way to Google.
Ryan K.
No, you're wrong there too.
Damn it, Steve! I'm tired of your damn questions. Look, the last time we hit trivia on this damn show, I gave you the answers.
These are just fun facts to know about the race because these are all facts that will come up during the course of the race.
All right, let's hear.
David Malukas is the youngest driver in the race at 20 years old. So can't even drink a beer.
What's your next question, Steve?
That's why they have milk.
Joe, will you bring me a Mountain Dew, please, now? She hit me again. Shelley Fowler Spilman.
Huh.
2 messages from
Steve, if you would hurry the hell up, I could get my wife a Mountain Dew.
Okay. In order to preserved sherry or Shelly. I'm sorry, Shelly. I would smack the hell out of your husband as soon as he brings you the Mountain Dew. I'd pour it over his head, is what I would do if I were you.
She does beat me.
But I have no more fun facts. Those are the ones that I wanted to get out. And go from there. Here's one more. Do you know what the length of the straightaways are on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
No.
A mile.
Nope, they are not a mile. You would think they're a mile.
3/4 of a mile.
0.93
Nope, they are not
miles.
that either.
0.93 miles.
Nope. The back stretch and the front stretch are 5/8 of a mile.
That is
3
exactly
Martinsville hot dogs.
And they are considered 4 individual separate corners with 2 short chutes that I believe are like 1/4 of a mile in length. I believe they're right around 1/4 of a mile, the short chutes on the north short chute and the back short chute. I do not know the length of the turns, but if somebody's an engineer, you can figure that all out real quickly with your slide rule and a protractor, and you can come up with the exact distance of what the turns would be. It's beyond my 6th grade education.
Yeah.
And
you and Jeff Robodine.
Yeah, the fact that I took basket weaving, bowling. I actually took a bowling class at IU as an elective. That was fun.
That's ridiculous.
All right. That's the only questions I have in the fun fact information. What else do you want to know? Because we're 51 minutes into a 30-minute show.
I absolutely do not want to know anything else until after the race, Steve, except, Ryan, do you have any closing words for us?
No, I don't.
He does not.
I learned a lot today. I appreciate it.
I did learn a lot, Steve. I do appreciate your insight.
You guys, either one of you, if I quiz you on it tomorrow after the race or after the NASCAR race on all these fun facts, you will not remember a single one of them because they went into your short-term memory, and they've already probably exited your short-term memory.
I'm going to spend 3 hours tomorrow looking for corners at an oval track, so that's what my goal is tomorrow.
The corners are right in front of you there, buddy. They're right there.
Well, as we close out the show, I want to let everybody know that normally when you do comment, I know we had several comments tonight. We were able to put that up on screen. We are having some technical difficulties with that tonight, so I wasn't able to see that or see your comments, so I do apologize. But I appreciate you all tuning in. We had a pretty good audience tonight.
I addressed every question that we got.
Okay. Well, all right.
Including the one from a Shelley Fowler Spilman, still looking for her Mountain Dew.
And I'm about to go get her a Mountain Dew. And I do appreciate everybody watching tonight. We will be back with a recap of the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. We may do that tomorrow night. I don't know. We have to see how Ryan's feeling after the Coca-Cola 600. He may be a lot of fun to do that recap show right after the Coca-Cola 600. I know I'm up for it, but it won't be until about probably midnight or 12:30 tomorrow night. So hopefully we might see you all tomorrow night. What?
I would be there.
Yeah.
Don't ever question if I'll be there.
Ryan will be here. So as long as Steve can make it, we will be coming at you with a fun recap of
your 12:30 is 9:30 my time, or 11:30. I'm just going to be finishing my big slab of ribs, which I'm having tomorrow evening.
Right on.
For dinner.
So we will be here after the Coca-Cola 600 tomorrow night to bring you a fun-packed post-race show for the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. And me and Ryan might talk about the World of Outlaws race we may or may not be going to. So, again, I want to thank you all for watching. And I want to remind you.
Joe, who is sponsoring? Who are we powered by?
I was about to do that, Steve.
Oh, okay. I wanted to make sure.
Good God.
I want to remind you, Joe.
I want to remind you that the Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding an online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Again, thanks for bearing with us and listening to Steve Risley for the last hour. We do appreciate it. See you later.